Hello everyone, my name is Luciano Oliveira. I am a Brazilian attorney, also licensed in California and Texas, and today I'm going to answer this question. Do I need a local attorney to handle an inheritance or a probate in Brazil? And the answer is yes. Only Brazilian attorneys can represent clients in a Brazilian court. And for a probate or an inheritance in Brazil, you're going to need to handle this process in Brazil. So what are your options? You are, let's say, in the United States, you are maybe in Europe or in Asia, so you don't have a Brazilian attorney. Where do you find a Brazilian attorney? There are two main options. You can have your own attorney. Let's say if you are the only heir, naturally you're gonna need to hire a Brazilian attorney. Let's say maybe you have relatives or siblings in Brazil and they have already retained a Brazilian attorney to represent them. You can eventually piggyback and also hire the same attorney, or maybe give a power of attorney to either the lawyer or your family member to represent you in the probate. All right, let's discuss. When is it a good idea to use someone else's attorney, meaning another heir's attorney? And this is usually going to happen when the inheritance is not substantial, meaning the amounts involved would not justify an additional attorney for you, or when you have a good rapport and you do trust the local parties to represent you in the probate. On the other hand, you may be better off hiring your own attorney. When do you need to hire your own attorney? When there is a substantial amount of assets in the probate, or you don't have a strong connection to the local parties, and therefore you feel like your own representation is going to be better for your interests. All right, so now let's say if you decide to hire your own attorney, where are you going to find a Brazilian attorney for your probate? Google may be a start point, and particularly if you take a look at the reviews, you can see how a current Brazilian attorney or law firm is representing their existing clients. You can see if they're handling probates, you can see if they are handling other procedures that you may need, and through that you may have an initial idea about the match. Then of course the next step is going to be to schedule a consultation with the attorney or law firm, share the details about your case, and see if the strategy that this attorney or law firm has for you sounds like what you want to accomplish in Brazil. Now let's talk about some of the concerns that usually apply to foreign citizens with an inheritance in Brazil. Whenever you're trying to find the ideal attorney in Brazil, remember that you need to have a reasonable communication with such professional. If communication is available only through emails or chat, this may not be as effective as a conversation as a call over Zoom, for instance, would be. In addition to the English language or another language, if you are from a country speaking a different language, you may also want to see if this attorney has experience in international law in general. Because remember, it's not just about the Brazilian law. There are going to be procedures abroad as well. For instance, if you are in the United States, and there are procedures in order to legalize the documents that you're going to need to present from your country to Brazil. So you may be represented in the probate, and these documents may allow you later on to not only get access to the assets, get title to the assets, but also to sell such assets if you decided to do so and bring the funds back to your country of residence. And talking about bringing money back to your country of residence, Brazil has a history of super regulation of monies entering and leaving the country, and therefore finding an attorney who has experience with cross-border transactions is going to be pretty helpful when it is time to bring money to your country of origin. Let's say the United States. It's very common here at the firm for some people to come to us and say, listen, I sold a real estate property or I got an inheritance, and now I am unable to bring this money to my country because or I don't have a bank account in Brazil, or if I have a bank account in Brazil, the bank is not going to allow me to transfer a large amount. There are many challenges that are kind of unexpected unless you've been in this situation. So working with a professional with experience, again, in cross-border transactions and money remittances may be very helpful at the end of the process and reduce the anxiety of having your money sitting over there without being able to reach it. Also interesting to note, if you're choosing a professional experienced in Brazil with also the international law component, it may be possible that not every probate is going to be viable for such firms. Such firms, they are more competitive and have the ability of choosing which cases they want to work with. And therefore, if you have a very small inheritance, for instance, chances are going to be better for you to retain a local attorney. Yes, it may be harder to work with a local attorney if they don't speak English, if they don't know how to move money cross-border, but that may be a more feasible option because, again, the most competitive attorneys and law firms, they are going to usually rather work with larger cases. Talking about the selection of attorney and law firm, you may also want to know how usually these professionals are paid. It is common in Brazil for whenever a law firm is starting a case to charge an initial fee in addition to a maintenance fee, particularly for probates that can last for several years, and a contingency fee, meaning a success fee over the amounts that this professional or professionals are going to recover on your behalf. I hope these tips were helpful. Follow us for more tips and see you in our next video.